I personally considered Elana my best friend, and then I'm getting all the emails, and I'm looking at pictures, and people are like, well, she was my best friend, and I'm getting a little, I get a little possessive, but we all really were best friends with her at a certain time, but I really, not that I needed to take care of her, she was always, wasn't afraid of the dark, listened to cooler music, did cooler things, yeah, still, but I always felt a little bit that I needed to protect her, and especially now, I want to protect her, and I want to cherish her memory, and I want everyone to be able to, do something nice for her. And I know everyone wants to, but I think that everyone can share in that if you say something nice about her, it's doing good for her she definitely did for us. So, if you have
anything at all, whether you knew her from somewhere or just...
Favorite memory, favorite quirk, the blue
favorite,
sunglasses, the way she screamed, Abba! And she'd always say it in that, throaty voice. You know, when she would come up for Shabbos, it would be like, Abba! That's exactly how it was, so. I want ice cream! Or Tali wants hearts of palm was probably the more likely yell upstairs. So that's what I have to say. You want to go, Sheila? You can go that way? Yeah.
Is anybody?
Okay, I'll be Walter.
Well, I guess I'll build off what Rachel had said earlier about going there on Friday nights. And I remember talking to Elana, and she had said, she was so we were talking, and I remember talking to her about a problem I was going through, and she just turned to me, she was just like, oh, Bubba, you can tell me, Lana's here.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at her, and I was just like, but, you're so much smaller than I am. How could you be calling me kid? But, I mean, that's the way it was. Anytime there was a problem, you could go there, and, little girl would sit there and be like, oh, tell me all your problems, kid. It's okay. And that was something that I remember about Elana, and something that I'm sure everyone here can remember. And, something very special about her.
Want to say something, Nikki?
Sure. So, what Rachel was saying about, or Tali was saying about how long we've known Elana, I don't even remember, because I remember my mom telling me stories about when Elana and I would be in Mommy and me together, and when I was growing up, and she would tell me stories about, me and Elana playing and her talking to Elana's parents. So kind of she's always really been a part of my life, and we haven't, the past couple of years, we didn't really keep in touch as much, and that's really sad, but I kind of always have those memories of nursery school and elementary school and middle school, and kind of growing up with her and her being a really important part of my life, as I was growing into a person, and also those things about, how she had the cool music and she had the fun house and everything, but I guess the most important thing to me about her is how she was kind of always there with me, and how she was, even from a very young age, an important part of my life.
When I didn't have a car, Lana would, wherever we were going, whoever we were hanging out with, she would always drive. And I can remember never needing a call to tell me she was outside, because there was always some music blasting, and you could hear it coming down the road from 2 or 3 blocks, and I would always tell them, oh, I hear my friend coming, I'll see you later. She always had different music, and it always, I remember one day she had Nirvana's Bleach album, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool album and everything. And the next day it was Outkast's Aquemini. It was never the same. It was just whatever mood she was feeling, that was the music she was listening to. And I remember she could laugh off just about any problem she was having. No matter how bleak it would sound to anyone else, she'd always just smile and kind of nod her head and laugh and say, yeah, it's alright. And I'm gonna miss her.
You want to say something, Annie?
Yeah, I was sharing a couple memories earlier. I remember one time him, Colin, and Lana, they came to my door to hang out, and my mom had like the whole family over. And everybody, when they walk in, instead of saying, "Hi, how are you, come in," they just stared so hard. And they just freaked out and ran outside. It was great. But the last time that I saw Elana, it's kind of sad, but I didn't know it would be the last time. I was driving home from work. It was rush hour. I was late from leaving work, so I was really mad. Then I see a car way up ahead. I was like, that's the same color as Lana's, but the mirror was knocked off. I was like, that couldn't be her. Then I get up and I see this blonde ponytail, so I honk, but she didn't recognize my car. So she goes from giving me this "who in the world are you" look to like driving circles around my car to try to scream through the windows going down the road. And it's really sad that she's gone. But she made a lot of people happy while she was around, and I'm glad that we can all celebrate that.
I don't know, I was thinking, I guess, about that one Shavuos where we all, like, sat in the backyard and, like, ended up having, like, probably the most spiritual conversation. I don't know, we, like, ended up in this weird, like, maybe it was a sleep deprivation or something. We ended up in this, like, crazy conversation about, like, God and life, and, like, she was so great for stuff like that. Like, she was, like, really, like, you know, down to earth, but, like, really insightful. I don't know, we had this, like, really great conversation until, like, the sun came up, and it was so weird. We were just, like, out in the backyard around this little table, and, like, it was just kind of funny because, you know, you, like, all lie about where you're going. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to shul, and, like, you know, like, we ended up having this, like, really, really, like, probably, like, the best Shavuos ever was, like, in her backyard, and that, like, I still think back on that. It's just, like, one of those memories that has that, like, tinge to it of just being like so great, and so like I think that's probably one of my favorite memories.
Anyone?
Yeah. Run in circle.
I was just saying that I mean I'm 2 years older than all of you, but you know I have a brother in Elana's grade, and I was just very close with everybody. They were all my little brothers and sisters. You know, Elana. We just felt like we weren't the typical Hebrew Academy people. The typical, we weren't the cookie cutter. We had a good time in school. I miss her a lot. There's a lot of good memories.
Well, when we moved in, I think about 8 years ago, Elana was my sister and I's first babysitter. And let me tell you, in all years I babysitted, she was the coolest babysitter ever. She tops me by landslides. And my sister would hate when my parents would go out, you know, when she was 13, 14, and leave me with her. She was like, no, I want Elana, she's so much cooler than you. And it's probably true. Like, you know, on music she'd probably laugh at me. She'd be a teeny helper, you know. But there was one time where I know the story's been repeated, but it's my favorite. But she babysat, and my mom left a kind of chocolate ice cream in the freezer, and you know, my diet, trying to watch my weight, you know. And we pulled it out, and Elana was like, we're going to have some. I was like, yeah, I'll have a little. She goes, no. You got a spoon, and we're going to sit by the couch and watch a movie. We put Abby to bed, and we ate that entire pint. And then we brought it out to the garage because we're thinking, my mom's going to come home, and she's going to kill me. And my mom, for days, went, you know that pint of ice cream? I'm like, I don't know, we didn't touch it. So my mom called me from college, you know, May. I was like, Ma, you know that chocolate pint of ice cream? Well, and I ate it. So I was like, yeah, I started to kind of figure that out when you wouldn't really tell me that, you know, how could a pint disappear. But, and then there was another time where I was studying for this NEBI test, and I'm more, you know, I needed to kind of see pictures to kind of remember things. And Lana came over and she was like, okay, we'll have a really good time, and it's these little chocolate teddy cookies that were, you know, part of the troubles. We sat there, and she, I mean, I think it was like, I don't even remember what war it was. She acted it out with Twizzlers and everything. And she was like, you know, throwing these little, like, teddy bears across the table, and she cleared the entire table off. Anyway, I go to school.